Okay. Hello and welcome to the review after 120 hours of Omens of Destruction. I'm going to be using a campaign example to go through and consolidate my thoughts. Also, I wanted to do this in a new format where I opened it up live, so if anybody has any questions, I can facilitate those answers live on the stream, and obviously it goes into a video format, so hopefully if you guys have any questions, we can consolidate into this video to make sure you are making the best decision for yourself. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. We're going to start off by talking about Mr. Demonetization himself, Golgfag Maneater. So I'm going to jump into one of my Golgfag campaigns, and I am going to start talking about my thoughts and feeling for his campaign in general. So, one of the things that we've got to keep in mind with Mr. Demonetization, Maneater himself, he's benefited a lot from a lot of the free LC stuff that has changed, right? So them moving ogre camps to be more towards Doom theme, no you. But yeah, no, welcome guys. The one thing I'll do quickly is just say hello to everyone. Corvus, good to see you. Niski, good to see you. Double, 40, Jareth, Jorah, Borg, and Timothy, good to see you guys. Hope you guys are all doing well. And Jorah, good to see you. But one thing we've got to keep in mind, the ogres have benefited a lot from the free LC stuff. So any and all changes that have come in through the free LC 6.0 patch has helped the ogres significantly. So if you went and played Greasus without the DLC, his campaign experience has gotten significantly better because normally you struggle getting a high tier camp, and that was one of the biggest crux of the ogres in general. Their early game was terrible because you had to use ogre balls consistently. And then it started to transition to the point where once you do get to the late game, you're going to struggle because your camp is completely isolated and you may have hard times utilizing it. We do know now that we have the ability to pack up the camp, we can move it, and we can use it like that. So there are obviously more flexibilities with your camps. It's not quite like a Black Ark per se, but it's certainly not horrendous either. Because the Black Arks themselves can move around and take settlements. Obviously, I don't think a camp should ever be able to do to that level. But you can see that we can obviously pack up camps if we so choose to. And we also know that it is a meat production to upgrade the camps as well. To put it in perspective, this is turn 23. And if you look at all of the food that I have stored, I have roughly about 2 camps, tier 5 camps worth, plus upgrading all the things to tier 5 that I would most likely want. And I can do that twice with the amount of meat that I currently have available to my faction at turn 23. If we go ahead and end the turn, what we'll see is we'll get a new set of contracts in which we'll be able to jump in and see what kind of level of stuff that we have. Never played ogres before, sounds like a good time now. Yeah, ogres are in a good position. If we go back all the way to when they were first released, ogres were very, very powerful just because of the fact that they had so much goddamn strength in all their units. Like, everything was just overtuned, everything was insanely buffed, and it was, in the grand scheme of things, it was yeah, it was crazy. It was, like, absolutely bonkers, the level of power. Like, for example, if you remember Gorges were crazy good. Like, there's nothing to that level of egregiousness in this DLC specifically. Thunder Tusks and stuff like that are very incredible, but, this is turn 23, and we've recruited a high-tier, late-game, very late-game army, only turn 24, because the camps are very easy to upgrade. One of the reasons why we have so much food is because the mercenary contracts offer so much food. Like, look at this. This is 6,740 food. We have 19 turns to do it. We also get Overwhelming Odor, which is a -6 melee attack. So a lot of these contracts provide you some really fantastic bonuses depending on how you want to play it. So, for example, you get 10% from trade tariffs here. But overall, there's a lot of stuff inside of the faction itself that provides a lot of resources. I mean, the money situation is crazy. Like, genuinely, you make so much money as Mr. Demonetization himself. It is crazy. You can turn them into Plague Ogres. You basically can turn them into Plague Ogres. There's a massive variety of bonuses that Maneaters can be provided with from these contracts. Like, I've seen the minus melee attack, I think there's like Unyielding Assault, there's Journey's End that Ungrim has, but for Maneaters. There's a lot of really cool things that you have access to inside of the contracts. One of the problems I do have with the contracts, let's say we accept this one, right? How much does it cost to move camps? It's free. You can pack the camp up for free. But keep in mind, to redeploy a camp, it takes 5 turns. So imagine them being wounded. So just imagine themselves being wounded. That's basically the same. Permanent. It's a permanent. I believe it's like a banner you put onto the unit from that contract. It's just like a banner. So you can see here that we've got a new contract now. So let's go ahead and jump over to Maneater. And if we travel to the client, which is the button over here, same thing that Skulltaker has, we can see that I can go here. And it makes a lot of sense in that he wants help from us, because right now he's in a lot of trouble. And as you can see, these are the kind of situations you can find yourself in. This is the only settlement I have to teleport to. So, you know, without having any context, I'm going to be jumping into 2 very powerful armies. So that's one of the, I guess, the downsides to the contracts. You don't necessarily know what problems you're going to be encountering. For example, I had, let me just take Fog of War off just so I can show it easier. I had a contract given to me by Drazowith, and I didn't know where Tretch was. It was a thing to kill Tretch, but I had no idea where Tretch's settlements were. And as you can see, I suspect it's just these 2, right? But I had a Fog of War of all the things to the south and all the things to the north, so I had no idea where Tretch's settlements were. That's one of the downsides to the mercenary contracts within Golgfag's campaign, is that, yes, you can accept contracts from all around the world, and in multiplayer, you can, as the player, play with another player, and then ask them to do contracts for you. It doesn't work. But in this situation, yeah, the mercenary contract, you don't necessarily know if you're going to be teleporting, or when you accept it, if it's going to be good for you. Which is, it can be, you know, it can be quite difficult, and I guess slightly frustrating in that, you know, you don't know how bad the situation is, but then again, you're a mercenary. You're paid to do that, right? So I don't see that as necessarily a problem, because it's literally your job to be paid to go murder things. So that, in one thing, is one thing to mention. If we jump into Golgfag's tree of specs himself, you gain a lot of bonuses and some melee attack reduction. Alongside the one that we're going to get from reward would be a lot of minus melee attack reductions. Maneaters all get buffed up as well. You've got to get the Maneaters inside of your Lord army. A lot of upkeep reductions, catches replenishment rate. Immune to contact effect is really nice. You got Unbreakable and melee attack for Regiments of Renown, and we have Ancillaries from the battles. The rest of it, I believe, is just standardized towards being an Ogre Lord. Yeah, it's like an Ogre Tyrant. But you can see that you start with a Heaven Magic, our boy Okoi, coming in clutch with a Heaven Magic. I think Heaven Magic is probably the best Ogre spell school now, because Heaven Magic is just insanely good. Your victory rewards and your quest battles, the battle's not too difficult, and it definitely is really powerful, because Bugmans will basically fully heal you, as long as you're not inside of melee. Do you have a question mark like that? Diplomacy, Arcane Missions? No. You generally don't know what shenanigans you're going to get yourself into. One of the things I did want to call out that I think makes Golgfag's campaign exceptionally awesome is this. If we go into records, this is the map that I've discovered, right? This is all of the map I have now discovered, and this is what I've been able to do inside of this campaign, and I've jumped around all over the place, right? If you're looking for an exciting campaign where you can jump around and just do everything on the map, it's sort of like similar to the likes of Wood Elves, but Wood Elves can't be paid for it and then give the settlements for free, right? Well, the more settlements you give your mercenary contract, the more money you'll make, but you can see that I've traveled from Cathay. I've gone to the likes of the deserts over in this side, bottom left, kill Rapans. I've murdered the likes of Scarstick and Scrag and stuff like that over here. I've helped out Sartosa, and I came and killed Rapans. I've beaten things up on the donut. I've murdered vampires at the beginning. I've killed Norskans for the yummy mammoth meat. I killed loads of the Empire. One of the things I've really enjoyed about the early game of the Empire was I massively helped the Black Pit tribe. Like Oxy, yeah, very similar as. I massively helped the Black Pit tribe to stay alive, and I gave them the entirety of the Midland alongside this Misty Hills. It's a shame they've now lost that, but you have the ability to effectively be such a significant disruptor on the map, which is something I quite like, right? It is something that I'm a big fan of in campaign gameplay, where you could just jump around and have fun. right? There is no real other campaigns, apart from Oxshuttle, like Raz just called out, that has that ability to do this, right? You can jump around and murder things, and also give them the settlements. So this is one of the things that I really like. One of the things that I want to call out for me as a player, this is subjective just to me, I want to make that very clear. I dislike how easy it is to snowball, right? One of the biggest things for me in campaigns is the challenge. Like, for me as a creator, I play on the Legendary very hard, I play on the hardest difficulties. I make it as hard as I can, because that's what I enjoy. I've got 10,000 hours or so within the Total Wars franchise of Warhammer. I've played an insane amount, and I've gotten to the point now where I'm okay at the game. I'm pretty good, right? Top 3 in the world domination on the ladder. I did a decent enough job to get good at the game. In this campaign, I never felt a difficulty. I never had difficulties. I never struggled. It was never a challenge. I just ran in and killed everything. Because the available big names, Maneater, giving him passive ability of Strength from Flesh, is so insane. It's like you will never lose a fight inside of the Empire. Simply put, he himself will just kill everything. Golgfag is so insanely powerful that he can just snowball through everything. Like, this is turn 24, and my army is basically what I started with, and I've just recruited Ogre Bulls as I've put down camps and stuff like that. Obviously, I can chill out here and sit here and recruit these units for 4 turns, but I don't want to. I want to go beat things up. That's sort of like the amazing thing that you can do as part of being Golgfag Maneater. The new offering to the Great Moor, all of that really great choices. I think they've done a fantastic job separating out and making it so you can have more options to just give you the ability to do so. Having tunneling stands helps a lot, because when you're in attrition, it's logical that you'll have to put a camp down. So normally what I did was I would have a camp ready to deploy, so you can see 1 out of 2. I always made sure to rush the camp tech, so everything I was doing and running around, I'd deploy a camp next to me so I could A, recruit, and B, replenish wherever I was. So you either replenish on your contract's lands, or you can replenish within a camp's radius. Either or. The bounties and stuff like that, I never really looked into. I mean, look, it's literally asking me to go towards the donut. Jog on, you noobs. I'm not going to do that. This bounty system, still not the greatest, but the mercenary contract is honestly where this campaign thrives. I think I had 120k turn 12, and I had enough food for tier 5 camp. With the I think it's, which one is it? It's in tribes. I think it's Ogre Throng. Yeah, camp limit +1 for every level 5 camp built. You will effectively have an infinite cycle of tier 5 camps if you do this and rush this early game. For me, I want to smash stuff. I just went more melee centric. I went with more of my armies. I wanted them more powerful. I want to make sure these guys have 10% Iron Blaster range, because I was setting this army up to go and beat up Kislev, because it'd be funny. Having an army like this as early as this is really tasty. I mean, Kislev is obviously quite strong, but that is what it is. What else? Any questions, guys? Is there a high chance that the factions you fought in contract to declare war on you? That's a really, really, really good question, actually. My understanding is no, and that'll all tie into your strength rank. Right now, we have a relatively decent strength rank. If we go on to this one, we got strength rank of 21. I will very, very quickly get more armies because I have more money. Like, I could have pumped out so many armies from this camp. I just didn't, because I was just having fun running around beating things up with Golgfag, if I'm honest. If I'm going to be completely transparent, that's what I did. You could have, like, I could have 10 armies, pretty much, running around, fighting things and beating things up, if I so chose to. I didn't, and obviously I just went with the 1 army. The one thing that does suck a little bit is I can't go back to that camp that's really strong. I'd have to pack the camp up, place it where my new contract is. So logically speaking, what I probably should do here is pack the main camp up that I have, and then wait the 5 turns to redeploy it wherever my latest contract is, because you can see this is a 19-turn contract. It's going to take a while, so I might as well have my strongest camp with me. And obviously you can recruit decent units in here as well. I probably should do that before I pack the camp up. But if I quickly move this guy and deploy... I wonder if it will let me deploy into the camp nearby. Yeah, it will. So you can see here. I'm waiting on this camp because it takes time to redeploy it. There's obviously options that you can have from a camp perspective. It's telling me what the camp is and the meat carried by that camp as well, because these are all the ones that I've packed up. as these are the ones I've just used as part of the campaign. Especially within Norska, when I was killing Throg for Wulfric. It's really cool to see that, you know, me being there and helping Wulfric has caused him to thrive and basically take control of the Norscan lands. I'm a big fan of Wulfric ever since I did the challenge campaign with him. Love the guy. If you wanted to buy one of the lords individually, which would you recommend? It depends, ghouls. What I'll do is I'll go through all 3 of the campaigns and then give my summarized thoughts. Because at the moment, obviously, it'll be hard to then consolidate it for each. But I'm going to review each campaign and provide my thoughts. And this is so far, this is the Maneater campaign. Right now, one of the things that I have to mention is Legendary Heroes, fantastic. The unlocking it, though, not so great. But like the TLDR thoughts for Golgfag Maneater is you can quite literally jump everywhere. You can kill everything. But very quickly you can get bored. Very quickly you can get bored. I'm in a situation now where there is nothing on the map that can kind of contend with me. I mean, this is looking quite tasty, though. How is the AI Golgfag? Yeah. Thus far, from what I've seen playing in campaigns, I don't believe he does much. I don't believe he does much. I can't believe there's a skill line. Are we able to save them? Use them for later in the campaign? That is a great question. I suspect... Let's have a look. I don't believe we have any way of saving them. Let's have a look. Click on him. Yeah, no, you can't save them. They've stopped that cheese. Yo, Avenger, much love. Greetings from Germany. Welcome. Greetings from England. So yeah, you can't save this one. But yeah, much love to you, Avenger. You can't save them normally. Otherwise it'd be cheesy because technically they are considered like generals. So if we loaded up if we went into a new campaign as a Golgfag, I'm just gonna like explain my thoughts of it. But yeah, TLDR. I personally got very bored very quickly because he was just too strong and it was just too insane. The only thing that kind of is, I guess, the interesting thing is you will often feel like you are dictated by the contracts. Because for me, if it's giving me juicy loot and another option's pretty garbage, I'm going to go with the juicy loot, right? I'm not a human. If you give me juicy loot, I'm going to take the juicy loot, right? You know what I mean? And so it's hard not to like take the really good options that are like given to you. But if you look at his starting position in the early stages of the game, my apologies, guys. My PC legit died. Sorry about that. We'll carry on. I'll make sure to edit that bit out of the video. Yeah, I need to do something about my PC. I don't know what's wrong with it when it does that randomly. It just randomly disconnects on me. Well, it just randomly turns off. PC couldn't handle the review. Maybe the video is just too spicy. So yeah, I'll make sure to cut that out when I remind myself. Let's load back into the game. It's been doing that recently. I don't know why. I generally don't know why it's been cutting out recently. It just randomly turns off. I'll have to make sure to look into that one. But yeah, let's jump into a new campaign of Golgfag specifically. Leaving in the video would be pretty funny. Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, sorry about that, guys. Should be a Windows log record. Yeah, Frodo, good shout. Good shout. I'll check that out. Because my... I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's crashed like 5 times in the last week, which is scary. But yeah, let's load into the Golgfag Maneater campaign to begin with. And I'll demonstrate and showcase kind of how it can be, I guess... Yeah, the campaign early game can be very much dictated by the way that the game plays. Power supply unit. Maybe it's a bit old. Maybe. I'll have to check out. I'll have to look into it, Avenger. Because yeah, it's never died. Hey, Pizza Lad, good to see you, handsome. Hope you're doing well. Warhammer power supply usually. Okay. Well, it freezes. The PC freezes, and it like turns off and turns back on again. So yeah, maybe it is power supply or something. I think maybe if it's if the power supply is what am I call it? If it has a lot of dust, it might be no bueno. Everything went out and it gives me VGA debug light. Yeah, very similar for me, Curtis, I think. Caleb, we'll be doing the Skulltaker campaign. We'll be reviewing Skulltaker last. So we'll be jumping into Gorbad next. Hey, Zulbix. Right, so if we jump into the beginning of the campaign, like we said, you can see we are very much dictated by the early game and the contracts that we're being given. For example, these two, right? Looking at these two, we are paid a lot more to go at war with Ostland. Just simply put, Ostland is paying us more money to go beat up... Nordland, excuse me, is paying us to go beat up Codius. Unfortunately, we didn't get any rewards, but we do get money from raising settlements. But this is often find how you'll feel will happen. 900 and 1,000 meat. So this 1,000 meat right here. So if you accept this contract, the only thing that I would want to call out is if you go and attack Ostland, it takes you longer to fight and kill him. Ogres are definitely significantly more fun. They've done a really good job making ogres feel a lot better. Like pigback riders are exceptionally powerful, super useful tier 1 unit, alongside the newer Maneaters as well. So if we give a quick review of the units themselves, the Thunder Tusk is obviously a tier 5 unit and performs exceptionally well. Really good range attacks, really good disruption inventory, high HP, really reliable single entity. The Yeats definitely can be really solid because they're a really good supportive unit because they can slow, they've got magical attacks, they've got melee defense reductions and speed reductions. So in combination with other units, they're a fantastic way to take down like demon units, to take down a lot of other units in there. Obviously getting heaven magic helps a lot as well. And you can see Blood Vultures now providing the roster with a flying unit, which helps immensely, alongside Carrion Frenzy. If you get Carrion Frenzy in there, what that then allows you to do is stack them up to be even more dominating as the battle goes on. So if you're able to kill chaff or chase units off, this helps significantly. The Bruiser is an El Clasico, just really solid foundation of a hero that you need in the army. Let's say if you went more with an approach of recruiting a Slaughtermaster and you need someone that's more melee-based, then the Bruiser can be a really good addition to that, as they will provide that niche very, very nicely for you. And then obviously the normal Maneaters of the Golgfags is really strong, super high damaging, and will do an awful lot for you. But if you compare and contrast the two, they just have more melee attack, more armor, and that is usually the main thing. And obviously they're anti-infantry as well, so you get them against a small lord, they'll crush them very quickly. So that's one of the really good things about them. These are the new units. I think it pads out the roster really nicely, and one thing to call out, the DLC enables the other Ogre Lords as well. So the Yeats and the Thunder Tusk and stuff like that enables Scrag, and having just in general the free LC content for changing things to be more food based helps greases his campaign, so his campaign doesn't feel as much of a slog. But yeah, is there any questions before I jump into the next one? And before we jump into Gorbad, guys, any further questions of the campaign before I jump into the next one? Just want to make sure I facilitate any and every question before I jump in. But yeah, that for me is I feel like I covered everything. Covered the units, covered the campaign, covered the free LC changes, covered how he feels and how I feel about the campaign. I mean, he's very fun. I'll be honest, he is very fun. Going around beating things up, you always get a thumbs up from me. But if we do this and do this as a demonstration real quick, I'm going to accept this contract because it allows me to attack the both of them in one turn. Yeah, you can attack 2 settlements in one turn, but if you're wondering what the mechanic is, you can see gift a client here. My big bald head's in the way. Other way. I should have gone the other way. 1 second. You can see I can gift the settlement to the client. And that's how you get client satisfaction. And you can see already I've almost finished this client satisfaction. So if I do one more settlement and give it over to the likes of Ostland, we'll have finished that contract already. And that is just like that. An easy contract and 920 food. And to put that in perspective, that is probably going to be enough to get to tier 4. Which is kind of bonkers, right? Getting tier 4 available to you like turn 3. Obviously you got to upgrade it, but very strong, very, very powerful, super awesome, very heavily snowball based. You earn a ton of money. But next up we'll jump into the Gorbad campaign. And we'll review Gorbad's campaign. We do have a save that we have over here that we were cooking up and testing with. My overall thoughts for Gorbad is that he is so unbelievably unique in the perspective of if you want to recruit and use any army, Gorbad is the only legendary lord really that can enable that. there are very few Legendary Lords that allow you to build any composition that you want, which is really cool. I quite like the fact that you can build any kind of composition and make it work, because Golgfag has that level of flexibility, because he's able to recruit anything and buff anything, which is really cool. I like that. There's very few factions that allow you to do that, and so if we jump into the game, we can see the... wait. Oh, I was cooking a video, I think. I was going to demonstrate there's a new buff for this. If you look at this, guys, I cooked even harder. You can also get this, Keep 'em Hungry. So I can get another 32 melee, 32 bonuses of infantry alongside 75% damage increase. Yeah, I was cooking with that one. So yeah, this was going to be insane. Like, it's crazy how OP the squigs can get, especially with Squigard. You made the squig stronger? I did. I found a way to make him stronger. Anywho, so let's go into the to the likes of the rest of the campaign. So one of the things that Golgfag revolves around is his tactics. So the biggest thing about Golgfag is definitely his tactics. So you can see right now, the Erd mentality is something that I use to get me through the early game. You have Golgfag boys, which equally can be done for the early game. For me, it's really important to have anything that can kill infantry. So when going against the dwarves, squigs are a really good thing for that. I think the 40 melee defense, 40 ward save, and unbreakable, when you have 10 squigs next to each other, is a little too strong. It very much, you know, trivializes or makes it very trivial to win and beat the campaign in the early stages of the game, because you can just use loads of squigs. But that being said, he does have a lot of variety in his campaign. Like, if you look through, for example, net him up alongside giving missile strength increases, like having nets alongside minus 50 block chance. Like, if you really wanted to build very skirmish based alongside having the new legendary hero inside of this army, oh man, this would be so good. And then that you could have these spider riders shooting away, net them up with your infantry, and then just skirmish them like crazy. So that's one of the things that I quite like about that. But like, you can have trolls, which gives you ward save, which gives you more damage. Yeah, like, if you just go through all of the things, you will find something that fits what you want to do, basically. So the biggest strategies, you can see that we can get a movable bulwark. So we can get this for every single dwarves on the top of the mind. You can get this for every single orc unit, as long as you have a black orc in your army. You need one black orc, and then you can have the immovable bulwark for every single orc boy. So to put that in perspective, if we had a single orc boy, or we had this big one, for example, we would have, what is that, like 56 melee defense, turn 17 on a orc unit that already does pretty damn good job at fighting. And I think it's kind of very, very cool what Golgfag allows you to do. I have never felt that there has been a campaign that allows this to happen before. I don't think there's any legendary lord that allows you to play like this. It's wild to me, right? Where if you want to build squigs, my dude. Have fun, king. You do you. If you want to build giants, do it. You know, there's nothing stopping you. If you want to build rogue idols, black orcs, if you want to build trolls, you know, you can get upgraded auras. You can get stinker arrows for the ammunition, which gives them poison attacks as well, and then explodes on impact. Like, it is just such a cool experience. Like, I am a big fan of them. For me, I very rarely... I can play greenskin campaigns, and I really enjoy playing greenskins campaigns, but it becomes very boring very quickly. For example, I think it's easy to say, if you're playing a Skarsnik campaign, you're going to use goblins. If you're playing Grom, you're going to use goblins. If you're playing Grombrindal, you'll use orcs. If you're playing Azag, you'll use orcs. If you're playing Wurzag, you use savage orcs, right? It is as linear as that. That is your designated path as that legendary lord, because that's what you buff, right? That is just what you buff. That's what you're good with, and it just makes sense to recruit them, right? I mean, yes, you don't have to. Yes, you can play with other units for more variety, but you'll be punished for it. Golgfag is the only person in the game that I believe that can just use anything. For example, all of his armies get buffed melee attack and more melee strength, Equally, if you want to use loads of really cool range units, you can get dig in for 40% range. So things like your Goblin Rocklobbers, you can give them 80 range. Just like, no, it's more than that, isn't it? It'd be 40, 80, 160. It'd be 160 range on your Goblin Rocklobbers, as long as they're rank 7s and they're staying still. Insane, right? And then obviously equal with your cavalry, you can give your cavalry Strider, which is such an effective way of doing it. So whatever you want to build, you can. And I like that, right? So more and more looking into his tech, looking into his big plans, the more I realize that you can do whatever you want. Like, if you want to do spiders, do spiders. Because especially with the Mortis Engine effects on Arachnarok units, normally you've got to have the War Spider Arachnarok to have a Mortis Engine. This is the thing, right? And you got to keep in mind here, you don't have to be in combat for it either, right? Affects all unit in range. There is no requirement to be in combat. So you just have an AoE Mortis Engine with Spooters. Now, Scarstick starts with a Spider, so if you can figure out a way to confederate them, you can get a Mortis Engine very quickly. But you will need the tier 4 building for it. And the DLC is out tomorrow, Doomsday, on the 12th. So I think that's one of the things that I really love about Gorbad. Hey, Owen, is that you can quite literally build anything. And with the amount of tactics as well you can place, all you need to do for plans is go and beat somebody up. Literally, all you have to do is just go fight somebody. Let me just demonstrate it here. Just quickly MOV. I'm using console command mod to make my life easier in this video. But let's go declare war on him. And then defeat him. And you can see we just gained a plan from that. So you gain plans from fighting and winning as Gorbad specifically. It has to be Gorbad. So the other best thing about the likes of the plans is it is not global. The cooldowns are not global. So if I want to have every single unit or every single army having the same plans, I can do that, right? Which is the reason why you see me building loads of squigs. Because if I go Erd Mentality here, I've now just granted this entire army 40% melee defense and 40% ward save. And the good thing about them as well is their auto-resolve power is insane too. Like, the Squiggy's auto-resolve power is actually pretty damn good. Which is one of the things that surprises me the most because of the fact that they have the buff that provides them such insane stat line. And I think auto-resolve just basically just goes like this. It just says, now kiss! Blah! And everything just squishes against each other. So it makes sense that they'll be given the buffs. So yeah, that was one of the really cool things that I really like about him, is that you can quite literally build anything. So, one of the things to talk about, this has been a problematic unit. Mango Squigs in the community right now have obviously been a little bit of a problematic unit. For me personally, I think the Mango Squigs are... obviously, if you have anything range, you can kill them very easily, but they trade up too well. They're a tier 2 unit, and generally speaking, they are very effective at killing anything you put them against. And the damage is fantastic. Their hitbox is really weird. They explode, killing anything that's around them when they die. So yeah, they are a very, very, very good unit. And they trade up too well. I hope that they don't, like, really nerf them. And I hope that they more so look at it like, in multiplayer, let's increase the cost by a lot to make sure people don't use them too much or can get too many of them. But I think there's definitely some weirdness about the hit models, the hitboxes. Colossal Squig, excuse me. Bog standard unit. I mean, does a really good job at killing a lot of infantry. Really great infantry killer. I mean, I think the greenskins out of everybody probably won the most, in that they gained units that really, really pad the roster out. And now this Arachnarok Spider Flinger is something that's really interesting, because they have sticky webs, so they fling cobwebs effectively at their enemy. With the new UI changes for Vigor, you can really see how effective it is. The sticky webs is so insanely good. Like, if I fire like 3 times on a unit, 30% Vigor. They're very tired already, basically. So the stat line's reduced by, like, what, 10%, 15%? Just without even fighting. So you don't necessarily get a lot of value from the damage, but you'll get value because they're super tired. So I really like that. But yeah, I just think that Gorbad is one of the best legendary lords from a flexibility perspective I have seen in the game. I don't think there's been any legendary lord that has been built with such flexibility in mind. That the world is your oyster. Quite literally, the world is your oyster. If you want to build whatever you want to build, just go for it. Another really cool thing that they've done is you can upgrade and get more than one scrap upgrade at once, right? That's obviously not the DLC specifics, but with that in mind, you can make the stronger units even stronger. Because you can get multiple scrap upgrades for them. For example, over here, it was 3. Clearly, I didn't have enough scrap, but if we do the third one as well, I don't have spoils as well, that's why. So we've got 2 scrap upgrades already on this one. So, fantastic units there. But your stat location as well. I mean, Thorgrim can be a massive problem because of the fact that Thorgrim has the bugged Gyro Bomber. But a Squig Herd stack will really quickly sort him out. Yeah, one of the things that I really like is that we're not too far away from Wurzag. And we're not too far from Skarsnik. So we have a lot of availability of Greenskin Legendary Lords to confederate in the early stages of the game. And equally, Grimgor usually does very well, so we're not too far away from Grimgor either. So I think Gorbad is one of the Legendary Lords that basically can confederate a lot of the Greenskins very, very, very quickly. And snowball very quick as well. For example, the terrain I've taken is the same that I had in 12 turns, I think. In 12 turns, I just completely took over the map. Because I was making a video. Yeah. So you can see in 12 turns on Legendary, I was able to take so much of the map over. I took over Azag, because obviously Azag's to the north as well, so I confederated Azag at the same time. Oh, no, excuse me, I haven't confederated him just yet, but you can confederate him very easily by just running up north and go beat him up, right? So you have, yeah, so many of the Greenskin Legendary Lords nearby with you, so you can snowball super quickly. Then equally, when you get those Legendary Lords, you can use them for their strength. Wurzag, you can use Giants and Savage Orcs, because guess what? You can buff them like crazy. There are a lot of buffs for towards those kinds of units, just because of the way that the big plan works. One thing I'd be interested to know is if this counts for Savage Orcs. It looks like it's saying for so you need 1 Orc Boy and you need Black Orcs. So with this saying for all Orc inventory, I'm assuming Savage Orcs will get that as well. Which would be really which is just going to be insane if it's the Savage Orc Big Gun boys, because they will really batter everything. Because they already have super high melee attack, so confederating Wurzag, putting those on you guys, will be pretty nutty. Yeah, definitely that could be quite scary. But yeah, that's one of my main things for the likes of Gorbad. Insane flexibility. The units are very, very strong. Everything that you have, there's so much flexibility from it. Like, once you get the likes of your new legendary hero as well, when you build the spider units as well, you can have a spider army, you can have any army you can ever dream of, and that is my TLDR thoughts of Gorbad. Does anybody have any questions before I jump to the next? Jump to Skulltaker? They tend to nerf these laws shortly after release. They're like crazy at launch. Yeah, I think this DLC is probably the best from a perspective of balance. Like TOD was not balanced at all. Like Thunder Badge, my god. They've definitely done a lot better at making some of the units way less egregious than it was beforehand. Difference between owning settlements in the mountains compared to other terrains? No. Well, it depends if you're depending on the faction, right? I think the only thing it's just depending on what your climate suitable is. You like waffles? Me too, bud. And hey, Dizzy. Right. So yeah, that does anyone want to question what I said? I'm happy to go back and forth with certain things as well, just to make sure that we can consolidate and utilize the fact that this is live to our advantage. But yeah, I think overall, I just love the way that he can play. You know, there is no other legendary lord in the game that can allow you to do this. So let's jump into Skulltaker now. Hold on, I need to display all saves because I have a save that's a little bit further on than that. This one. Is there a single best army with Gorbad? Great question. Depending on what time in the game. Is there an optimal way to play him? Squigs in the early game, 100%. That's the optimal way to play him. And then most likely using... I would say trolls and giants definitely can start having a place in the army, alongside utilizing the orc bonuses and buffs that you can give them. So this is Skulltaker now. So, but yeah, no, thank you for the question. There's, yeah, I think range units as well. You can actually use a range stack with them with Dig In, alongside using catapults. That's the greatest thing about him. There are so many good options for Gorbad. It's definitely... the early game is insane. Like, the early game is absolutely insane for all of the units. So, like, squigs are insane. Like, you really can't get as much value as the squigs. But if we can see here... Right. One optimal way defeats the versatility. No, I think that's, like I said, there's obviously there's definitely ways that it's really strong, but overall, like, you can do anything. That's like his level of flexibility. You can quite literally do anything. Squigs in the early game is obviously really powerful, but you don't necessarily need to do that. So, let's talk about Skulltaker. And Skulltaker is someone that is incredibly powerful and someone that is really, really, really useful. So, Skulltaker is basically Scarbrand 2.0. There is no other ways to say about it that he is significantly stronger than Scarbrand because he can snowball a lot faster than Scarbrand can. We no longer have the easy ability from Strength of Flesh. You know, we can't get access to that very, very easily, which is a bit of a shame. But you can't necessarily snowball in that manner anymore because it was always meta to then get Strength of Flesh and just kill everything. One of the biggest advantages Skulltaker has is his start location. Lustria is so dense with settlements that you will fight a lot. And one of the things to keep in mind is, this right here, Skulltaker gaining experience from Lords, is unbelievably good. Because now I'm stealing 75% of the experience. So if I go over here and just say, just for example, let's just make this as an example. We've made him a level 50. I can steal 75% of that experience. If I kill him, you'll see very, very quickly you can level up very, very fast. So obviously we've gained 22 levels from that, right? Because I can steal the experience of Lords. So you can see very quickly that I can snowball in this campaign like insanely fast because of the things that you have available to you. Just fighting and killing things all around the area, it is kind of wild, and obviously you'll get a lot of skull piles here as well because Can Pestilence and the ratties will die very quickly. So yeah, you can get a lot of experience very quickly, and I think that's one of the things that is a little too strong. I feel like because you can very quickly get experience, and you can teleport as well. So if we have the enable teleport, I can teleport to any army that I can see, I believe. I think, let me test this one as well. Let's do Fog of War off. And you can see over here, I can teleport all the way to these guys as well. So if I click on Albric, it's only costing me 21. But if I go over to another army, let's say Morgor over here. Let us declare war on Morgor. I think it's just war, is it? Yeah. So if we go over here, declare war on Morgor, I can grab Skulltaker, click teleport, and you can see it's only going to cost me 28, right? It's only going to cost me 28 to teleport all the way to there to here. And I'm going to actually make profit on that. It's only 56. And if I went into the tech even further, it reduces the cost by 50%, and then reduces the cooldown. So I can do it every 5 turns instead. So I don't think there's a lot of balance around the cost of it. You can very quickly start moving around and grabbing Champion's Essence. So if I go ahead and just finish these guys off as well, I'm going to ignore the fact that my army's going to die here. I don't mind. But you can see that we're getting a lot more experience than we should do, basically. We're getting significant amounts of more experience than we should do, because that's just the way that the Skulltaker works. Like, you can get to the position where you have redonkulous levels. The Unholy Manifestations is actually quite nice as well, because you can always make a ruin become part of your faction, just like so. And it comes up as a tier 2, which is obviously pretty damn good, right? this is something that can be, you know, very awesome as time goes on, because you need, it's a 15-second cooldown, but you can raise something, boom, tier 2 straight away. And that obviously gives us access into some pretty tasty units, because since we knew that the exotic animals provides really, really good units for corn, for example, corn gores and spawns, and then obviously the minotaurs at tier 3, yeah, you really want to get to that as soon as possible. You also want to try and, you know, we potentially could grab the rest of these as well. One of the things at Skulltaker that I want to comment on that I think is probably a bit insane as well. Once you get to the point where you go into Demons Reforged, the corn mechanics have basically yoinked from Dead Rise Again. Super similar. You can get a ridiculous amount of percentage chance for your units to be revived. So in this scenario, I can get my army, so this is 25%, and they come back 50% HP. I believe Skulltaker himself has bonuses towards that inside of his tech as well. Is it Skullmaster? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's 10% here. So that's 35%. And then we have 10% just naturally from the faction because of the Slayer of the Kings. And if you go into the tech, I believe there is another 20% here as well. And another 10% hit points. So you revive them at 60%. We have like a 65-70% chance to revive them as well. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy. And then, like you rightfully call out, you're exactly correct. If there's corn corruption in the settlements as well, there's even higher chance. So this is 75%, and the chance is 16%. So I think as long as the settlement is like fully corn corrupted, you effectively will never lose a bloodletter. Which is bonkers, right? As long as you win the fight, right? But you will never get into a position where you are, in quotes, struggling. Because you'll never lose units. As long as you go in, beat them up, you'll be fine. I thought it was useless. Nah, man, it's insanely overpowered. In the testing that I did, in the brief testing I did off stream, I was able to get Skulltaker level... What was it? Level 30? Like in 10 turns or something ridiculous, just by fighting as much as I could. Mikey, this is just a demonstration of his mechanic of stealing experience of lords. We can steal lord experience, and then we can get a lot of XP per fight. But yeah, Skulltaker is one of those that can just snowball very quickly now. So corn corruption, like you guys rightly called out, gives you the ability to get it even higher. I think it's very hard, as long as the corn corruption is super high up. You will never lose any units. Obviously, the more corn corruption you have as well, the more colonization you have. But another one that we can talk about is obviously getting access into corn corruption here, which will be super useful too. So, yeah, if you can see, any of the ruins in the local area are immediately colonized after defeating a lord. You get to the point where it's just like, boom, 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 boom. You're going to hit a certain point where it's like, nothing can contend with me with how fast that I can do everything. This is insane. I'm going to be killing everything so easily. I'm going to hit a certain threshold where no one can contend with me because it's near enough impossible. Like if you see here as well. Once I have fully spec'd this out, because there's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 things that I can go into. So I get 30 bonuses infantry, 30 melee attack, 30% weapon strength, 30 melee defense, and 30 armor, 30% physical resistance. Once I've maxed this out. Which honestly shouldn't take too long, because you can very quickly get a lot of skulls. And so we'll talk about that mechanic real quick. The Champion's Essence is gained from fighting legendary lords. So you can see here, Albric, battles won by this lord, it increases. Legendary lord, total 2x. So there are 2x. So 2x of their level, I suppose. And obviously the lord's rank as well. So we're getting 42 from killing Albric here. And Champion's Essence is what you need to snowball. Let's have a look around the map, honestly, to see what we can see from a level perspective. Like here, we can see Rapans has Lord type not yet defeated. So you get even more. So 10% for every skull, 1%? No, yeah, it's plus 1 per every skull empowerment. So I'm assuming that would mean In fact, well, we'll do it right now. So if we unlock that one, we can see bonuses inventory. So we can just test this one to make sure it's properly additive. We're now at 28. What? Crap, I don't know what I had before. What is it default? 20? It's 20. So I've gotten +8 from something. And how many do we have? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so it is 8. So it's given us, it'll give us in total 30, 30. So yeah, I was right. So you're gonna get to the point where you get insane stat line. Hold on, let me check something. My good friend One Pitch Man might have the code. Do you know? Because we might be able to give ourselves loads of champion essence and demonstrate and showcase it even more. But yeah, it is kind of crazy. So gas for corn, yeah, corn is pretty good. Any improvements on decay bar? I keep attacking with tier 1 to 2 units. Oh, so yeah, keep in mind one of the things that you want to make sure you're doing as Skulltaker is once you get a Blood Reaper, you want to keep them so you can reduce your time to recruit units. In the early stages of the game, you want to make sure that you're attacking whatever you can with a Bloodletter. And then what you do is utilize that and recruit Bloodletters from the get-go. So if we go into here, you can see that we can globally recruit units with ease because we have our bloodletting. And then we go and check out the RRR for corn. I mean, this corn Legendary Lord is pretty. Excuse me, the Chosen of Corn Slaughter Halberds is really tasty because obviously they have flammable, and the majority of my my units will have flaming attacks as well, so they can do a fantastic job of helping you out. Unyielding Assault is really good, but I believe Fatigue is broken, so or it does make you lose melee stat line, even though it shouldn't. Does the AI use these cloak buffs? Not that I'm aware of. As part of most of the time when it comes to Legendary Lords in the DLCs, the AI doesn't use them in the most effective manner, should I say, right? They don't, generally speaking, make use of that Legendary Lord, right? But if you can go into the Skull Thrones as well, there's a lot of really, really good bonuses that you can get access to inside of the skull. And you can see here, like, instantly replenishes movement range, instantly summons Blood Host at faction, and especially with all the bonuses you can get towards buffing this up, it's crazy how quick you can get it. Like, it is honestly bonkers how, like, boom, boom, boom. You just go to a certain point where you're like, I'm kind of weak. I am a Giga Chad that's not going to die to anything. It's quite literally just that's how it goes as Skulltaker. You feel like, I'm too weak, I'm too weak. Boom, I'm a Giga Chad, I'm going to kill everything. If you mess with me, I will absolutely slaughter you. That's like kind of how it feels when it comes to come to him. It's really weird. Yeah, you go from a point where you feel like you're the most weakest Legendary Lord in the world, and then you just become a Giga Chad. And Andrew, no. I can do dwarf impressions, but I can't do much else. Yeah, the problem, LJ, is that Skulltaker has... One of the biggest issues that I have with the game at the moment in certain directions, Scarbrand now is a baby compared to Skulltaker, right? With this new Cloak of Skulls, Scarbrand has effectively become invalidated. We have Executor on Skulltaker. We have so much more strength inside of Skulltaker. I think I can get to like 3,000 weapon strength, which Scarbrand never could, by the way. Which of the new campaigns is the hardest in your opinion? I would say probably Gorbad. Because of the way that Thorgrim's bugged at the moment. Frozen has chosen to your mammals. Yeah, Arbal's very cool. Yeah, it is definitely power creep. I mean, that is the one thing that's always sad. I think the lords are really cool. All of the lords are so cool, but it's like, it's a bit of a development trap, right? Like, the more power creep you put into the game, the more power creep you have to continuously keep adding into the game because everything else will look crap in comparison to it. But Skulltaker is, I think, yeah, he is probably on the verge of being incredibly overpowered. I personally feel like Khorne in this DLC got the worst end of the deal. If I'm honest, I feel like Khorne's units are pretty bad. Like, if you look at, like, the Slaughter Brute is probably one of the worst single entity units that I've seen in the game. Especially for the defined tier 5 it is. Like, I don't see many worlds where I'd use a Slaughter Brute over, like, a Minotaur, for example. But if you look into the actual new units, Khorngor's incredible. These guys, arguably, are the best unit in the new roster. Super fantastic, does what it says on the tin, fantastic armor piercing, anti-large that you very much struggle with, generally speaking. Love that unit. Love this unit. One of the things that I think is a bit sad, blood beasts of Khorne are kind of trash. I'm not going to lie. These guys don't feel great. I very much doubt you'll ever see them being used in any composition because in the same equivalent light, you could, you know, a spawn of Khorne will do what they do, but just better. Like, they have more HP, they have better stat line, they have more damage, they are unbreakable. It's crazy. They lose to skink cohorts. There you go. So Blood Beasts lose to skink cohorts. So they're just not worth a unit. They're just not worth using. Which is a shame. And like equally with the Slaughter Brute, Khorne already has good single entities, right? If you're going to want to go down the single entity route, you've got Bloodthirst and you've got the Soul Grinder. They will do that job better in every way. So I don't really see a world where you'd use them. Regarding... Oh, wow. That's crazy you can get access to these guys tier 4. So regarding the Wrathmongerers. Wrathmongerers, well, in specifically Skulltaker's campaign, not the greatest, right? I think the stat line's great, their armor's great, weapon strength's great, they've got frenzy, they do a lot of damage. But they don't specialize at killing anything, right? You set them against anything, they'll be like, no business is inventory, no business is large. I have high melee attack, but I'm going to struggle to fight most things. Anything with 32 entities, like, if you consider them like a baby aspiring champion, just without loads of the buffs. Right? If you consider them aspiring champion, but just a weaker variant with more entities. Is normally how I look at them. Where is the other... We have one more unit in question. Where is it? Let's have a look. It's the Skull Reapers. Skull Reapers, they're basically like the demon killer. They're really good at killing demonic units, but you are a demonic faction. You don't really need to fight the demonic faction. You know? I'm not a big fan of them. I think the Skull Reapers just really not showcasing a significant potence. Skylar, one of the things that I really dislike about Skylar is that you have to raid 800 gold to get them. And it's almost like it disrupts you, basically, from whatever you want to do. I dislike campaign quests that make you do things that is, like, random. And I think Skylar falls into that one. Like, 800 gold for raiding can take you a long time. Normally, you'd use a secondary army to do that as well. Scar as well, super strong. Super powerful fighter. Really like this dude. Incoming healing modifiers up to 50% can be really tasty, especially with all like the random buffs that you can get from the blood speakers and the healing and all the rest of the stuff that you can do there as well. So yeah, definitely a really good addition. So the blood speaker as well. If we jump into the blood speakers, they are very different. Very, 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 very different. It's basically your casters, right? The Blood Speakers will buff these Skull Reapers and buff the Wrathmongerers a lot. So if you want to use those units, you definitely can, right? It's not that you can't. These guys will definitely provide a decent composition for them. But yeah, for me, with Blood Sacrifice, obviously he takes damage to heal other things. 10% healing, it's not crazy amounts, right? It's nothing to write home about. I think it's just a nice lord to have from a utility perspective. So it can definitely provide a lot of flexibility and availability of new units if you wanted to. So if you want to go down the route of having new units, you can, and utilizing them, but I personally don't think they're very strong, which is a shame. But yeah, so TLDR for Corn. Corn Gauze, thumbs up. Hey, Gripper. Blood Beast, thumbs down. When it comes to the likes of the Skull Reapers, kind of thumbs down. When it comes to the likes of Wrathmongers, kind of thumbs down. Very weak units. But I guess, and obviously the Slaughter Brute, thumbs down as well. But that being said, the new Legendary Heroes are very good. They are very, very good. Mechanic makes them stronger for each kill. There's no fatigue. That'd be perfect. Yeah, as we know, fatigue is a massive thing nowadays, right? Fatigue has become such a big thing. But is there any questions about Skulltaker, guys? And we'll wrap up our thoughts and consolidate it all. Isn't Scarbrand still valid because of his charge animation? So it was actually funny because I was one of the very first people to make a video on Scarbrand regarding the collision damage that you can do. But yes, his collision damage is very useful because he does a lot of damage. What units do you mean, Lazy? Oh, do you mean the Blood Brutes? The Blood Brutes. They're just really garbage in every way. How Skulltaker's stats can get buggy in what way? How do you find Skulltaker's stat location? Easy, hard, shoot yourself? Oh, super easy. LJ, like, Skulltaker's stat location is insanely easy. There is nobody here that can even remotely contend with you. You're talking about Lisbon, that entire potency is around Saurus Warriors. Hello, Bloodletters hard counter them. You're talking about Bretonians that are peasants. Hello, we have Sons of Armor Piercing. We'll just absolutely slap them and beat them up. Not a problem. And then we've got... Yeah, it's crazy. Oh, sorry, guys. It's crazy that we just have so much weak units that are around you. Like, if you go and check out Scarbrand, Scarbrand actually has a relatively difficult stat location. And the main thing for that is everything's so goddamn far apart, right? Everything's so far apart from everybody that it takes ages to get from settlement to settlement. So Scarbrand actually takes quite a long time to get rolling, which is one of the biggest problems he has. That he takes so long to get from settlement to settlement. And with the additive snowball buffs of Skulltaker, so if you go into the likes of the stealing experience, so you steal experience from the Lords, you can unlock this very quickly. You can go into the likes of like the Blood Shackles and then the Cloak of Skulls to make him even stronger. I wouldn't recommend that one, but you want to make sure to go into the Traveling, and then obviously go into any of the bonuses to make Skulltaker insane. I think if you go into... if you go into all of these, I think Skulltaker himself would become an unbelievable Giga Chad. Let's just level him up right now since we have the availability to do so. So let's find my army. So let's go into all of his bonuses. Just do all of these just real quick, because obviously it provides a melee attack on all of them. Or weapon strength, excuse me. So this is where we're expecting him to be about 1,000. No, if you take that off, it's about 936 weapon strength, just from his abilities, just from his things alone. But that's not accounting for all of the bonuses that we can get from here. If I could fully level this up, it would be a redonkulous amount of strength. And then one of the main things as well on top of that is your victory condition for sure is the chainsword. So take that base and then 3x it, right? Take the 3x. Ah, it's crazy. Oh, is the one on top? Oh yeah, Khorne's favor. I do wonder what Mentor does. So we'll test that right now, actually. What we'll do is we'll test that. So I'm curious how Mentor impacts that. So we have a Lord over here, he's level 1. We've now got Mentor, and we're stealing 75% of the experience. We're stealing 75% experience, and we have Mentor. So what we'll do a quick tester. We'll add XP here. We'll add, make him level 50. Oh, did it wrong. I think I gave a number too high. Add XP, we'll just do it again. See how it interacts with Mentor. So he's now level 50. Skulltaker, my man, come over here. And teleport, and we'll kill him. And then we'll see, live on the video, how much experience we give him. So I'm actually curious if it works with Mentor or not. Oh my god, look at the route path. This is one of the biggest pet peeves that I have. Oh my god, my army's too weak. Let me just, hold on. Let me just turn this down. I should just be able to teleport on him. Like, the routing path sometimes in this game is just ridiculous. So let's kill him. Just raise that settlement. Wait, why did I run over here? Okay, we'll attack him again. I'm confuzzled. We'll attack him again. So we just defeated that lord. Now I'm curious how much experience my other dude over here got. He's level 14. Okay. So yeah, Mentor works with it. So you very quickly can level up secondary lords, it looks like. Very, very, very quickly you can level up secondary lords. And we got 16 levels from that fight as well, by the way. So I'm max level as well. So you can level up any other lord very quickly. Honestly, it doesn't matter what I go into here. I have a feeling they didn't necessarily think about Mentor plus that in combination. Because we didn't even have Mentor fully stacked out either, and we didn't even have this either. Excuse me, this one. So what we'll do another test. We'll do another test. Hold on, let me do another test, guys. Crap. I need to quickly put some units in my army. Let me do console command stuff again. I'm lucky that the wonderful OPM has this. Let's just put some bloodletters in here. How many do I need? 10. Okay, there you go. So that's for testing purposes. Right, so what we're going to do, we have mentorship. Let's get rid of you again. He was level 14. Let's recruit another lord inside of Oxhuddle. It's just making the blood speaker, doesn't matter who it is. One thing I need to quickly do is grab myself more souls. So I'll do that real quick. Let's see if we didn't lose any units there. We did. So clearly the percentage chances of it's not working very well. So now we're going to go with all lords gain 5% of the experience of the defeated lord. So it's going to be mentorship plus that. Oh, crap. So he already leveled up 4 times. Hold on. I want to do a tester. Stop giving so much experience, man. I'm trying to test something. Let's just recruit a Curse Lord. I want to see how bad it can get. So what I'm going to do is we're going to give Albric... let's give Albric level 50.
Do you take me for a child?
And then I'll kill Albric, and then see how much we get now. Oops, let's add way more. Let's do 100,000, that should be enough. Right, now Albric's level 50. Let's teleport over to him. We can actually use the campaign mechanics as well this time. Never mind, I don't have enough thingy. So if we kill this guy... now we're splitting up the money. We're splitting up the experience as well. So I think last time it was level 14, right? So now we've gotten access into all lords gain the experience, and I believe we went into mentorship as well. So now the survey says... Where is he? Level 21, by the way. Instantly immortal. Instantly immortal. And they are still... That's not too bad. So late game, you can run around with having immortal armies. Now, what I would be interested to know is how it functions with multiple lords. I imagine it's split properly. Yeah, so you can very quickly level up your armies. So Skulltaker has like a lot of, I guess, spice to him in that regard, where you can do some interesting stuff. But yeah, getting 20 levels instantly is pretty tasty. Because you can get your guy to a juggernaut and just be an absolute beast. What else about this mechanic? Yeah, I think the blood hosting, getting your units back constantly, like the Demons Reforged one is really nice. Getting like insane stat line for Skulltaker. Yeah. So overall, Skulltaker is in a really nice position because there's so many settlements for Lustria. Like, you will fight something every single turn, basically. And especially with all the movement range or the movement stuff that you get back, it's like, I'm going to fight everything. You defeat somebody, you get a ton more experience. You defeat somebody, you get a ton of more movement speed, like 10% here. And I believe you can just keep on running around and moving and beating things up. And no, I don't believe that AI uses the Cloak of Skulls. I think I'd be very much doubt that they would use it to like the extent of what a player would. And the Bloodletters are only non-AP because we have the Brutal Business trait. We have 20 base damage. That is the only reason they're not armor piercing. They should be armor piercing. It's just the fact that we have the Brutal Business. 2 OP versus large. It's very good, Kai. It is very, very good, the RRR chosen. So, I think we covered everything from Skulltaker's perspective as well. One thing we will do now is to talk about our overall concluding thoughts. So here's the TLDR now. Skulltaker. His campaign is a lot of fun if you like Khorne. None of the new units aren't that incredible. I think the Khorne Gores definitely you will see a lot of usage out of them in multiplayer, especially as well. The new RRRs, very powerful. The rest of the units aren't that incredible. I very much would doubt myself recruiting Skull Reapers over like Exalted Bloodletters of Khorne, for example. For Arabic, sees more play, obviously a lot better. But overall, Skulltaker is an exceptionally high snowball campaign where you can get to the point where nothing can get remotely close to contending versus you because you're just too goddamn overpowered. And you will slap literally everything. Your Cloak of Skulls, you get to the point where you effectively become God. Nothing will get remotely close to fighting you. You'll have Executioner. You'll have up to 3,000 weapon strength. Yeah, it can get a little bit crazy. I think you'll have close to like probably max armor as well. Yeah, you do become very, very powerful, right? And being able to get a lot of your experience not wasted is quite nice, actually. Because the second you go into Mentor, we share 50% of experience, and we then filter that experience elsewhere. And you saw as well that I got 7 levels from that because of mentorship as well. And we obviously increase it by 70%, and then share it by 5% as well. So if you're like sitting and chilling and recruiting an army, very quickly you'll get to the point where there'll be a really, really powerful lord. So, super snowball campaign. You can fight everything, murder everything. Nothing's close to as strong as you are. And next up, let's jump into TLDR thoughts for Gorbad. If you guys have any question, let me know. And I'll jump into it. For Gorbad, my TLDR thoughts is he is very strong, very, very powerful. Is near enough a mercenary you can rely on regarding kind of like a power perspective. You can dictate your campaign, jump around. There's very few factions that can get remotely close to the level of power that you have. You can get tons and tons of money very quickly. Golgfag. You'll get a lot of money. I think one of the recurring themes for me seems to be that all of the campaigns you snowball a little bit too hard. Is he boring with how OP he is? Yeah, I honestly think one of the biggest TLDRs for me, apart from Gorbad, like Maneater and Skulltaker, I think if you're a good player and you know how to play the game, you will get to the point where you'll like just have too much resources and you'll be too strong. For me, one of the biggest things of the campaign is the early game. I love the early game because that's where it's the hardest. For these campaigns, like Golgfag Mr. Demonetization, he crushes everything. Like, with your contracts, you just run around crushing everything. You make tons of money. You can get tier 5 armies just, like, super easily. And it's a very fun campaign, though, but I think very quickly you may get bored of them. If Golgfag is able to be utilized inside of, like, multiplayer situations where I'm helping a friend, for example, let's say a friend of mine is struggling a lot, and they make it work properly, and I can just be a mercenary for them. That's like a cool RP campaign, right? That sounds like quite a lot of fun. Just helping anybody out you want. But yeah, TLDR thoughts. all the new units really are really strong. I mean, the the pigback riders are the goat of early game. These guys are so strong, super good unit. Really love them, and it's probably one of the strongest units in the roster for it. Everything else is decent. Yeets have a place in the army, especially because of magical attacks and melee attack reductions. Having Blood Vultures is super good because you've got flying units now, and it helps so much. But yeah, overall, I think I really enjoyed his campaign. I honestly really did enjoy his campaign. I felt like I had a lot of fun, but I can feel like I would get bored very quickly. Yeah, I feel like I would get a little bit bored. Is my only problem. But yeah, that's kind of like the TLDR thoughts of Golbad. It's so much fun. You run around beating everything up. With the free LC changes of the camps, you can very quickly get a very high tier things very quickly. And there's no one else that can really get as high tier units as he can. So if you want to snowball to the end game very quickly, he is your man for that. He's like a different flavor of Changeling. Yeah, that's exactly. I had a video ready to release regarding my DLC review, but I thought I'd do it live instead. And he is basically the Changeling. He is effectively the Changeling 2.0 because you can pack up your camp when danger is close, and you can teleport to the other side of the map when danger is close as well. Like, as you can see, I'm not at war with anybody because I end my contracts the second I finish, right? The second I beat them up, I finish my contract because I don't need to fight them anymore. So I'm not in that much danger, and I can teleport wherever I want when I have a contract as well. But overall, had a great time with him. I think this campaign probably will be applicable and enjoyable for a lot of players. But for me, I don't think I'm going to play him that much anytime recently. Because I think, like I said, I just love cheesing and murdering everything, getting super strong. But then I feel like I get to the point where I'm like, you know, that's enough for me. But out of all three of them, Golbad is my massive winner. I think Golbad for me is the biggest winner here. I think the flexibility this campaign has, the fact that you can build anything and it will work, is where my massive recommendation goes. Out of all three of them, Golbad is the GOAT. 100%. Golbad is the GOAT out of all three of them. The Greenskins got the best units out of this DLC as well. Some incredible units coming through for the Greenskins. I think every unit that was added in was best. Like, every unit in its class was better than every other unit that was added in the DLC. I think there is no other... Yeah, there's no real other contender for this DLC specifically. Golbad is just simply the best. I mean, like I said, his flexibility, the fact that he can recruit any army. The new Shaman as well. I didn't really talk about the Shaman. The new Shaman is really good as well. If you don't have magic, like we know for the case of Grimgor doesn't actually start off with a mage, right? He starts off with a goblin big boss for whatever reason. So having a mage like that following him around would be absolutely perfect. Mage Rumors have different favorites. Some liked ogres, some liked corn, and some liked greenskins. Well, that's the beauty of it, right? Kai, that's the beauty of it. Having a wide variety of opinions is the best thing to have. Because then you guys have the most informed decision for you for yourselves, right? The reason I'm coming live and talking about this stuff today to you wonderful folks is to make sure that you guys tomorrow can make the best decision for you. That's why I streamed a little bit longer for this review, just to cover as much as I could for all of you wonderful folks. And no, Silver, they changed Grimgor to have a Goblin Big Boss map now. They changed everything. He's been changed. He was changed in patch 6.0 to have a Goblin Big Boss. But yeah, that's the review, guys. Any questions? I'm getting it all regardless, Ola. Yeah, I love that. Is there any questions? We can briefly review Arabal. I haven't played him a massive amount because he's a free LC guy, but I can briefly talk about his campaign and review it, go through it. He is not in the DLC, but I'll talk about him. He's obviously not in the DLC, but I'll talk about him. Compared to TOD, a lot worse. That's a lie. It's not a lot worse. The problem I have, TOD was all three factions that I goddamn love. They are in my top 3 or top 5. TOD is all of my favorite factions in one. So it's a bit biased for me to say, right? Because I love all those. But one thing I will call out, and I think it's important to call out, is that there may be less DLC content, but the free LC side is so much higher. Like, all of the stuff that they're doing outside of the DLC to go into patch 6.0 was a lot greater. Or there was a lot of really cool stuff in the patches that they've done. From a perspective of putting the fatigue stuff up there, from just providing a lot of really, really cool things into the game outside the DLC. And for me, if I were to buy the DLC, I would want to support that because the game is getting into a very, very, very good place. They are doing some fantastic changes to the game, and I can't hate them for that. If you compare it to TOD, I think it's unfair to compare to TOD because of the situation, like the context that TOD came in. Like I said, Malachi is going to be the most popular. Like, he is just such a popular Legendary Lord. Then you've got the likes of... God, I've forgotten the Legendary Lord's name. Jesus. Epidemus. Wasn't vibing, but Tamakan is insanely cool. Tamakan is very, very powerful, super strong Lord, and then obviously Elspeth as well. Like, it is hard to beat that, right? It is hard to get even remotely close to beating that. So if you do compare the lot, it's hard to compare them because of the factions that they're being implemented in, right? So there's only so much that they can do with those factions as well. Like Khorne's army, they are limited with the armies that they can use as part of the army books and what they have. Like Empire, Dwarves, and Nurgle have quite a vast amount of things they can utilize, right? But if we talk about Arabelle the Undefeated, if you guys didn't know, if you play as Arabelle and you lose, the campaign's technically over. You have an option to lose the campaign, right? I think Arabelle is a really cool lord in that he gets super powerful. You can jump around the map, murder stuff, do awesome stuff. I'm going to retreat, Dark, don't worry. I'm going to retreat from the battle just to show it off. He can do some really cool things, and I think there's very few factions that can, like, jump around and beat stuff up. But yeah, I really like Arabelle. I believe the trait that they gave him is like, yeah, it's not that bad, right? I think it's minus Khorne diplomacy. What I'll probably do is a no-loss campaign as Arabelle soon. That's probably what I'll do. I'll probably play a no-loss Arabelle campaign. I don't think I can retreat there. Where's the retreating line? I'll be over here. So let me see if it allows me to do it. Wait, why are you guys not going there? Wait, I have to go all the way over to him to retreat. Okay, whatever. But yeah, Arabelle is really cool. I think he's one of the, he's a very unique lord in that he's super powerful. But that is my TLDR thoughts on the DLC, guys. Do you guys agree? Do you disagree? Do you have any thoughts that you want to share? Can he be hired while the faction is playing by the AI? Not that I'm aware of, David, no. Not that I'm aware of. So do I have a preferred website, LJ? I do have Games Planet sponsorship, but I want to make sure that you guys get the best deal possible. I'd have to check first. I'd have to go in and check if Games Planet can make it so I don't make any money. Because what I'd rather do is make sure that I make no money and give you guys the discount so I don't make money. Because, you know, I'd rather you guys get the DLC for as cheap as possible. That's what I'd care about. But I'd have to validate with them and check that the code that I can give you guys is as cheap as possible. So you wouldn't be able to get it anywhere else. So you wouldn't be able to get it as cheap as anywhere else, but that's what I'll try and do. Arabelle seems very fun. They did a very good job with Arabelle. I can see a lot of people just playing Arabelle and having a lot of fun. Because you don't necessarily need any of the new DLC units. Arabelle doesn't really use any of the DLC units. You don't really need the DLC units either. But yeah. I think we'll show off the trait as well. Do you think it should be punished more? Yes, but then again, it depends on the campaign, right? Because I feel like challenge campaigns and really, really difficult campaigns only applies to like 0.1% of the population of the player base, right? So crushing defeat, and now Arabelle the Defeated. Look, you can see here. So we can get -30 with Khorne, or the journey ends here. And so does the video. Thank you so very much for watching, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. That one was a very brief overview. Well, I say brief. I went on for quite a while. I yapped on for a long time. But I think the TLDR thoughts, closing thoughts for the DLC, I think I'm worried about the level of power creep that keeps coming into the game. I do think that the mechanics and the Legendary Lords that are in the game are awesome. I think they've done an amazing job. The DLC is really, really good. But yeah, I have concerns with sustainability, right? I've got concerns with the fact that this is going to be like if you keep going like this, the trajectory in a year's time or 2 years' time, it'd be weird, right? So I don't know what they're going to do to balance that out. But for me as a player, I like challenges, and all three of the Legendary Lords that have come in are very, very powerful, super duper duper strong. The Changeling 2.0 feels like Golgfag Maneater demonetization. The likes of Gorbad, I think he's my number one favorite. Super cool Legendary Lord. You can play anything, you can do anything, and I think there's very few factions that can do that. So he is very unique. So my personal recommendation, if you do want to get the DLC, my biggest suggestion would be to get Gorbad, because how cool he is. You can do any army, you can play any way you want, but I think, yeah.
I command here.
If I was to, like I said, if I was to get it, if I do compare it to TOD subjectively, I think there's less in this DLC compared to TOD. But like I said, there is so much more content in 6.0 that they're doing for free. And with that in mind, like I said, I prefer them to do that. I want them to make sure they're balancing and focusing on multiple things at once, and ensuring that all players benefit from new content. But yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with the review. I felt like doing a live review was probably the best way of doing it, so you guys could see what I was talking about, see what I wanted to do. But hold on, what we'll do as well, I can play... what campaign do you guys want to see? Should I play an Arabal campaign? Should I do a quick Arabal campaign? Or do we do the... we could do the Peak Perfection Gorbad. I'll do that. I'll do that. Now, obviously, shit. Hold on, I'll do that. Let me just quickly make a thumbnail. I probably should have prepared for a thumbnail, because I wasn't gonna go live and do it after this one as well. But I enjoyed myself too much today, so we'll do a cheeky live stream. Wait, which? Brother in Christ, which thumbnail did I make? Let me grab it from camera again. But yeah, if you have any questions, like I said, before we end this stream, I'll answer it wherever possible. And don't all roads lead to Karl Franz anyway? All roads lead to Karl Franz, let's be honest anyway. Here we go. Yeah, we'll set the stream up. Do. Here we go, that's perfect. God, being a streamer, thinking of like interesting titles can be tough, man. Green. Okay, let's set that off. I think you can raid your own live stream as well. I think I've learned to do that. But yeah, much love to you guys. I hope you guys are well. Did the Emperor get any buffs? No, I don't think he got any buffs, as far as I'm aware. Right, I'm gonna hop over to the new live stream, guys. Much just love to you guys. But thank you for watching the specific review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you very much for watching.